And we're going live. We're going live. We're live.
Hey guys, welcome to our Walt Disney World 50th anniversary live. We have with us today, we're blocking our cool background. I was gonna wear Mickey ears. They're on the table. Go get my Mickey ears.
Okay, I'll put back.
What? I think I'm wearing this headphone backwards. That's funny. Anyway, we are here with ConciEARS. So you may have seen them if you follow us on Instagram. Thank you. Now I'm ready.
Looking sharp.
There you go.
Oh, they're disappearing though. You guys can know that I have ears on. Sorry. If you follow us on Instagram, you've seen us talk about ConciEARS and how awesome they are. So today we have James with ConciEARS. He is one of their travel planners. James, say hello.
Hello.
And we have Mike, and he is the founder of ConciEARS, correct?
Correct.
The head honcho over there. So just for a couple minutes, Mike, can you tell us what got ConciEARS started? Where did it come from?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thanks for having us, and it's great to be here. And great to be with your followers, and just really enjoyed as our relationship as it grows here. And yeah, ConciEARS is actually celebrating our 5th anniversary as a company. Ironically, the same day that Disney is celebrating its 50th. So that's awesome and exciting for us. ConciEARS really just kind of developed out of a love of Disney. It was starting with myself. My wife was in the military, and we were kind of moving around a lot, and it was hard as a spouse to find a job and then have to leave a job, this kind of thing. And we kind of got to a position where we were stationed in Savannah, Georgia, outside of Savannah, Georgia, and we were only 4 hours from Disney World. And my wife said, "Hey, you've loved Disney, you love planning these trips. If there's ever a time to start a company and do this, now's the time." And so I just started with like a handful of friends and family and kind of military families and stuff that we knew locally, and just really enjoyed it. And but really wanted something that was relational, where I got to know the people, help them year after year, watch as their kids grow, know what they love and are interested in. Not just what you typically get a lot of times when you call and someone books a hotel for you. Right. Someone that's going to help you all the way through that process. And so started working with other Disney partners and podcasts and things that really just people. We looked for people who just had like a internal desire to share their love of Disney, and wasn't worried about not trying to make a bunch of money off Disney or anything like that. Just people that had a general love of Disney. And shortly after I got started, a few months later, ran into James. He looked me up, and James was actually our first planner to come on board besides myself. And we've just kind of slowly, I think, like most, James is actually the rarity. He sought us out, but most of the people on our team were actually clients and families of ours that did vacations and then became a part of our team. And so we've just slowly, steadily grown, and now we have a team of about 8 people. So
yeah,
that's great. I love seeing all the things you guys post about Disney Insight. Before I ask you, James, a little bit about being a travel planner, I want to tell you guys that today, if you are watching, we are going to be giving away a pair of 50th anniversary Disney ears that Mike just barely got from Disney World. So as we go through this live today, we're going to share some images of Walt Disney World, and then there will be a link in the description. I actually think I have the wrong link in there right now, so don't go fill it out right now. We can change it. Robbie can actually probably change it during this live to the correct link. But we'll be sharing some images, and there will be a quiz that you can fill out, and you can submit to enter those ears, and then ConciEARS will mail those out to you. And then also, if you have questions that you want us to answer, there is a link in the description of this video that you can drop your questions in. You can also leave them in the comments, but it's a little easier for us to go through the link in the video, which is a Disney form. I mean, it is a Disney form, but it's a Google form. So if you leave your questions there, that is the best way for us to see them. So James, now as we...
Real quick, is it this one?
Oh, sorry, Robbie's trying to find that link.
Link to the
It's
quiz?
yes, link to that one. So that's the one we need in the description instead of the one that I shared.
Got it.
So, and you guys don't need to worry about that yet. Sorry, I'm just talking to my tech support.
It's me.
Okay, so James, tell us. Obviously, you love we know that you guys love Disney. You guys are pros. The main question that I get, and some of you have heard this because we did another live with ConciEARS, but I just want to touch base for those who haven't. How much does it cost to use a travel planner, James?
That's the best thing. It's absolutely free to use a travel planner with ConciEARS. The only thing you guys are paying for is just the trip itself.
Which
You don't pay us a dime for everything.
that always blows my mind. So I always thought like, oh yeah, well, I'm never going to use someone to plan my trip because that's going to cost more money, and I'm always like a budget trip planner anyway. But concierge will book your trip, book your dining reservations, book like anything you could need for free. So it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane that that's real life, but it is. So if you guys already have Disney trips planned, I can't speak. I know a lot of people are trying to go for the 50th anniversary. Even if you have your trips booked already, you can talk to concierge and they can help you while you're on your trip to make things go more smoothly and kind of take you through that experience. So I'm trying to, what,
Question.
Robbie?
Okay, so if you want to fill out the quiz, you might need to refresh real quick, and then you go down and it'll say link to the quiz. But I'm also going to put it in the comments right now.
But also, you don't need to go to the quiz till after we're done with the live.
Oh, okay.
So
what happens when I fill out the quiz?
you get entered for the special ears that Mike has. So cool. Yeah, so you don't need to worry about the quiz till the end. If you need to refresh it to get to the pictures that look familiar, then great. So here is our first question. James or Mike can answer. Do I have to wear a mask to the Disney parks?
Yes, part of the time while you're there. Anytime you're inside attraction, inside the shops, inside the hotels, any of their transportation systems, that's when you wear a mask. If you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask.
Great. Let's see.
And people will ask about that. They may ask and say, well, how does it feel? All that kind of stuff. Being down there just recently, the nice part is this type of year, it's getting cooler and wearing the mask is not near as big of a deal. There's lots of times it's off. And I'm not a huge mask fan myself when it comes to like wearing them. They just drive me nuts. And so I really enjoyed being there, even with the masks and all that. So it wasn't bad.
That's good to know. I've also heard some people, I'm curious if you guys have heard the same thing, that some people have actually loved going during pandemic Disney because it's not as crowded and like you get different opportunities than you would during normal time. Is that something?
Yeah, I'll tell you, probably one of the things we can help you with specifically is every day, every week, every time of the month, time of the year is different at Disney. And unless you understand those trends, it can be, you can miss some opportunities. So for example, it was like the 50th, right? So it was massively crowded at places. But at Hollywood Studios, everybody bought tickets to Hollywood Studios so they could hop to Magic Kingdom. That meant at Hollywood Studios on the 1st, there was a 10-minute wait to do Rise of the Resistance. So that is like crazy, right? That's, a ride that most people couldn't even, have a hard time getting boarding passes for. They just released it to single rider line 2 weeks ago. And at the right time, if you understand the patterns, 10-minute wait.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've had a 10-minute wait on any Disney ride ever in my life. I've only been like twice and then once to Disney Paris, which is kind of different. But yeah, that's insane. All right, let's see what else we've got, and then we'll pull up a picture soon. Robbie, I'm going to send you this link.
Better send it through Viber.
I will send it through Viber, and you will pull it up. Sorry for the technical delay, everyone. There we go. So our next question, reminder, if you have questions you want to know, go in the link in the description. Okay. Let me see how to phrase this one. They said, are there any parts of Disney planning you used to consider a bigger challenge, which you now consider routine? Okay, so that's going to be for both of you. Is like, as a travel planner, is there something that was hard when you first got started that's just like part of your job now that's normal?
Go ahead, James.
I think, yeah, it does get some getting used to, especially when you're doing the different destinations, because I've done pretty much at this point, I've planned every location we've done minus Adventures with Adventures by Disney, and each location is different the way that you have to plan it and get everything together. So it did take some time to get used to. I was already used with Disneyland and Disney World, but over time became better with Alani, Disneyland Paris, and also the Disney Cruise Line. So it does becoming second nature to you as time goes on. But that's also where the fun is with all the research.
What
That's
about you,
true.
Mike?
Yeah. So I think Disneyland Paris is probably the hardest one to learn when I've never physically been to Disneyland Paris. One of our team members was a cast member at Disneyland Paris. So we have like this great, team we pull from knowledge wise, but understanding and learning, the ins and outs of Paris. Their hours are weird. If you call for dining reservations, you have to have an international plan, unless you find a which James recently found. James, and this is part of it. You just kind of like find these things. James, you call like an 800 number that's local, then they transfer you and you somehow power into, Disneyland Paris's dining services thing. They don't give you reservation numbers in Paris. They're just like, yeah, I got your name down. I'm like, well, what's my confirmation number? Like, we don't do confirmation numbers. It's like, oh, okay. Are you sure? Like so it was really interesting and fun learning that
Sure.
side of things. But I think originally what is hard is understanding all the patterns in the US based ones, like US based part. So, when are schools out? Because West Coast and East Coast, those schools are totally different time frames. When I was in Seattle, my family, we were stationed out in Seattle. Schools got out mid-June, and on the East Coast, the school got out in May. And so there's a huge difference. Understanding when the good time to hit those parks are. It takes a few cycles of years going through that to see the ups and downs of the holidays, times to go and visit. But the more you do it, the more you have your finger on the pulse of when to visit. So.
Nice.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to share our first Disney picture, Robbie. I'll turn the time over to our tech master.
Mm-hmm. Was it on the slides?
Yeah, on the Google Slides.
Did you give me access?
I did. Can you refresh it? Yeah, you can go in front. It's filming from this laptop. Yeah, go ahead if he's asleep.
My laptop?
I do, but I don't need it.
You can have it. Is it helpful to have it?
No, I don't think I...
Just come back and get it.
Some of these are going to have words behind the pictures. Just ignore them and pretend that it's very professional. Oh, maybe it's fixed now. I mean, it's a little helpful actually to have your laptop, but I can maybe use
This
this
is
one.
having a hard time connecting to the internet.
Okay. That way I can read the questions. Okay, so we're going to do two. The first question, and some of these are bad quality, but you'll be able to see them on the quiz as well. Let me know when you're presenting, Robbie. I guess I can see it on the screen.
1 sec.
Sharing. We'll have to get smooth at this because we're going to...
Which one is it? It's none of those.
Okay, in the meantime, while Robbie figures that out, let's answer another question. Okay, if you could name one essential item to bring with you on a Disney vacation, other than the phone number for concierge, they said, so what would you bring? You probably have a lot of items you like to bring, but what's the most important one? Mike, let's have you start.
Well, I'll start off this one, James, if you like. So to me, the duct tape of like Disney vacations is the gallon size Ziploc baggie. Okay, especially if you have little kids. You can rain, especially in Walt Disney World, rain comes up out of nowhere at 15 minutes and then it goes away. And so you can pack an outfit in a gallon-sized bag, put it in your backpack, your park bag. So if it rains and things get wet, it's good to go. If the kids get wet, they can into that outfit. Then you can put the wet clothes back into the Ziploc baggie. You can put your electronics in the Ziploc baggie if it starts pouring, swapping out shoes or sandals like that. So there's snacks. There's a ton of things you can do with your Ziploc baggie, making sure you put things in when you're traveling home so they don't leak all the bag, when luggage gets on a plane. So I think plastic Ziploc baggies are like my, utility, go-to thing when it comes to, might sound like kind of silly, but there's a lot of cool functionality for them.
That's brilliant. I never would have thought of that.
That I usually think of is making sure you have snacks while you're at the parks, because you are allowed to put them in. And some people, we recommend places where they can order from grocery stores or even Amazon straight to their hotel with a bunch of snacks for them to carry on the go. And since a lot of people are going to be you're on your phone more so these days because of the mobile ordering. And of course, anytime there is a boarding pass, or if you want to look at your pictures, bring a mobile charger, because that definitely comes in handy, because using the apps will eat up your phone.
That's
absolutely
very true. Are you ready, Robbie?
Oh, we're so ready.
Okay, we're ready for the first.
Check this out. Oh,
Can you guys see it?
They're not going to be able to see it unless they go to the line.
Oh, well, ConciEARS can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys will just have to imagine what's on this.
Or
You're like,
you guys can go on your...
on a different tab, open the live, and then you could see it. But that might mess with sound, right?
Yeah,
it's fine. They can see the pictures after. They'll be okay.
Yeah.
They've seen these places before. So the first question on the quiz that you'll fill out after this live is, which of these castles belongs to Walt Disney World? Since you're going to want to take a longer look at those, probably while you are taking the quiz, we're going to jump to the next picture, which is name this ride. So obviously, if you guys want, you can drop these things in the comments. But if you want to try to keep all the correct answers for yourself to win the 50th anniversary Mickey ears, you don't have to drop them in the comments, but you can. It could be fun because you don't even know if the people commenting are right or wrong. Maybe you want to throw people off with your guess. I mean, we should all be kind and not lie about things, but also Mickey ears. So, so just a reminder that these pictures will be part of a quiz to win the 50th anniversary Mickey ears from ConciEARS. All right, let's get to our next question. When is your favorite time to go to Disney? I will answer this one first because I have a much less less reasoning behind mine. I always say that I like to go at Halloween time. I'll just show you all my shirt really quick. Oh, you can't really see it, but it's ghosts and cats and pumpkins. I really like Halloween, and I've been to Disneyland once when I was 8 years old, and then once at Halloween time, and it was so magical at Halloween time. I know it's magical all the time, but whenever I dream of going there, I dream of going at Halloween. So, James, what's your favorite time to go?
I think one of my favorite times to go is during Christmas time, because I do love the Christmas decorations, and I've actually gotten to see what it looks like at both Disneyland and Disney World. So it's very interesting to see where they put the decorations and how different everything is made, and plus, how the entertainment is modified a bit because of it.
Cool. Mike?
So first off, I think you have some great input there. I love the Halloween time. It's kind of in that sweet spot where it's like the weather's starting to cool off, so it's not crazy hot.
Yeah.
I love that. In fact, the picture right behind me, you got your pumpkins and everything. I just took this last weekend when I was down there. Yeah, it's a great time. You can also find some great sales during that time too. Right now, because of it being the 50th in the first couple of days, but normally right in October is a great time. And they start celebrating Halloween like late September all the way through like the end of October. So that is a great time. My favorite time as well is January. I love going right after Christmas when everybody's gone back to school and like people are just done on their holidays. The weather's great, the pools are heated, and people always ask about taking their kids out of school to go to Disney. Is that wise educationally? I always say, look, one day, if you've ever been to Epcot, one day at Epcot is worth a whole week in school. There is so much cool stuff to learn at Epcot. So, it didn't matter middle school, high school, AP classes. We took our kids out for a whole week every year, and
Yeah, worth
loved
it.
it. Yeah.
I
Well,
was an
and
AP student too, and a total nerd. I say worth it to take a week out of school. It'll just refresh you and get you ready to learn some more.
Yeah.
Well, especially Epcot is the only place you can go where you can travel the world in a day.
That's true. I've never been
Exactly.
to Epcot. I've actually never been to Disney World. I would love to go there. We've been to Universal Studios, so I know like the Florida theme park scene a little bit, but I really need to get to Disney World. Okay, let's do another picture. Robbie, go ahead.
Picture coming up. When I say coming up, I mean it is
Sometime relatively soon. Coming
within
our
within 10 seconds. Hey, what do you? Wow, look at this.
Okay, here is that it? They can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's your next picture. Study it. That's the next ride. We're gonna drop these pictures in a little more frequently because we have a handful to get through. Obviously, if there are some that we don't get to during this live, we will take them off of the quiz for the people who are watching later. Okay, we're gonna go back to some other fun questions. Is there a park that you guys would recommend for a first-time Disney goer, like rather than, I don't know, is there a park that's easier if it's your first time?
So are you asking about Disney World, Disneyland, either one?
I think any Disney destination. Is there, if you're like, hey, I want to take a Disney vacation, I'll go anywhere, where should I go? Where would you send people?
So I'll answer for like kind of breaking it down Disney World side, and James is more of the Disneyland expert via the different coasts we kind of live on. But so there's a lot of factors that go into this. It's a great question, and this is why working with someone like ConciEARS is great because it depends. How many kids do you have? How old are your kids? All these kind of things will come into effect when trying to determine what that perfect park is. If it's a bunch of ladies and they want ladies weekend, the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, that's where you want to go. I have a couple ladies that are going. I was just working with them last night. They're leaving on the 13th, and they're so excited. It's a great opportunity for those kind of things. If it's group of adults and they're all into Star Wars, or even young adults, children's Star Wars, right? So Hollywood Studios, that's where you want to go. But I would say generally you got to start with the classic, right? It's the Magic Kingdom, it's the castle, it's all classic Disney, and that's where it's the most rides per square foot kind of deal as well. And that's where I think you traditionally have to start. But again, it just depends on your family.
Mm-hmm.
Great. James, what would you recommend?
Well, I think that also goes with what Mike said, getting to know the family and what they're interested in. Do they have kids who like cars? Are they into Star Wars? Are they into more some of the classic Disney films like Peter Pan, Pinocchio? And, we recommend how many days and how much time they should spend in each park. And same thing with Mike. I mean, if you're going the first time, you got to start off at Disneyland, go to Walt's original park and see the castle and just see all the nostalgia of things that are still there after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much history there. And the adults find it so fascinating that there's still a bunch of things that were there opening day. Because
That's
not a
so
lot
cool.
of theme parks these days have anything that's opening day. I mean, I think Universal Studios Orlando no longer has any opening day attractions.
Interesting. That's interesting to think about. Okay, another picture, Robbie. We're gonna bring them in and
Check
out.
this out. I learned a trick. Double tap. Boom. Okay.
Quick. Okay, this is our next picture. Do you guys recognize this ride from Disney World? I have a guess, and I don't even know the rides. Okay, there you go. The quiz is in the link in the description. And we are going back to our next question, which is for Mike. Mike, do they have any sea animals in the Magic Kingdom?
Any sea animals in the Magic Kingdom? So, boy, that's a good question. Let's see here. So, of course, Animal Kingdom, right? That would definitely have lots of sea animals. Epcot has a whole aquarium area. So if you want sea animals at Disney World, that's where you want to go specifically. A lot of cool stuff there in the sea area, the living sea. But in Magic Kingdom, I'm sure there's probably some like fish swimming around in the moat, around Magic Kingdom. Goodness, I don't know if there are any that I can think of offhand. No,
I can't think of anything. Not in the Magic Kingdom. Yeah.
So Magic Kingdom, just for me to clarify for myself, Magic Kingdom is part of Walt Disney World, right?
Yes.
So there are sea animals in Walt Disney World, just not in the Magic Kingdom section of it. Not necessarily.
Yeah,
I mean, there might
correct.
be.
That's something that people sometimes get mixed up. They say Walt Disney World and they think Magic Kingdom. Walt Disney World is the entire resort. It comprises of 4 parks: Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. Hollywood Studios, not to be confused with Universal Studios. There's 2 water parks: Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon, and Disney Springs, which would be equivalent to downtown Disney, about 2 or 3 times the size. So Walt Disney World is huge. It is the size of San Francisco. That's the like land mass size.
That's crazy.
It's massive. And so there are those 4 different parks. So if you want sea animals, there's plenty of places to see them inside that resort, but not necessarily right at Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, we're ready for our next picture.
Dang straight. Here we go.
Dang straight. Also, if people can't get all of the answers right, answer as many of them as you can in the quiz, and we will choose winners based off of the people who got the most right. So if you're like, this is way too hard, just do what you can. We'll make sure somebody gets the ears, okay?
Okay. That's fine.
What did you pull up?
I don't know.
Aliens. It's my top secret audition page. Oh, they can't see it. Can they see it?
No, they can't.
Okay. It actually doesn't really matter, but maybe it does.
What's this?
Okay, here's your ride. Take a good look. Do I know that one? I maybe do. I don't know.
Ooh.
Are you guys recognizing these? I should ask you, Mike and
I
James.
don't know if they can see them.
Oh yeah, they can't see. I
Unless they're on
forgot.
their
It's a
phones.
little gray, but I'm watching it, yeah.
I'm looking at another device. Yeah, I know what this is.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's see what our next question is. For those who are just joining, if you want to submit a question, the link is in the description.
What happens?
And if submitting a question is we just answer their question.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But at the end of the live, you can go take the quiz and you'll be entered to win our pair of 50th anniversary Mickey ears. Mini ears? They have a bow.
Mini ears, yes.
Mini ears.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. So we talked about how short Disney wait times are because of the pandemic. What is like a non-pandemic typical Disney wait time?
So if we're talking, I'll talk Disney World and I'll let James talk Disneyland on that. So it's really weird right now because we're coming out of the pandemic, and prior to the pandemic, there were different rules in place. So at Disney World, you had things called fast passes. Everybody got the short line. They're similar to the fast passes right at Disneyland, but the way you registered for them, all that kind of stuff was different at Disney World. So you had fast pass lines and standby lines. Now, coming out of the pandemic, everything is back in the standby. There's no fast pass anymore. And now they're starting, as everyone's heard, Disney's releasing the lightning lane. So it's kind of a version of a fast pass lane with some different rules and things like that. So it's really hard to see where everything's going to like fall when it comes to wait times and things like that. But I think at Disney World, when they had fast pass lanes, you were really looking for anything under 30 minutes. 30 minutes or less, that was a good time to hit those kind of things. And times would really go high at Disney World because you're running these 2 lanes with fast pass. So on like your Flight of the Avatar ride, the Banshee ride, the joke was you could watch the entire Avatar movie before you got on the ride if you just downloaded it. It was like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So there, you get these the Frozen ride, an hour plus. Each park had its kind of 1 or 2 premier rides that tended to push over an hour easily, and so you're seeing that right now because everything's single rider. There's not all these extra people coming in. You're seeing those wait times actually kind of speed up, and because of the pandemic, and so you're really going to want to stay tuned in the next 2 months or so as Disney rolls out lightning lanes, because that's really going to affect your wait times. But if you have some extra cash to spend with Disney, you can actually speed up that waiting experience. That's kind of what lightning lane will be designed to do. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Is that similar at Disneyland, James?
It's a little bit similar because it's a bit small right now, from what I've heard from people. Because it's a bit smaller, the capacity has been increasing and more people have been going. So when lines were not as long, some lines are starting to pick up as far as length goes right now, because again, there's no fast pass, waiting to see what the lightning lane is. And what that, for anybody who doesn't know, a lightning lane is going to be their version, a new version of the fast pass, where you will actually, on your mobile device, if you purchase that extra feature, will be able to go to what ride you want to go to, let's say Indiana Jones, and select which time you want to go through the lightning lane.
That's really cool.
I feel like I'm getting all these like secrets that
Right?
that other people like. If I go, I'm gonna have the best Disneyland, Disney World experience.
That's what I feel like on our last live we did with James. I was like, what? I'm so much smarter now that I talked to this Disney person, which is why, I mean, obviously we love ConciEARS and we're going to try to get you guys to use them because we think they're great. But like, I would use them. I haven't planned a trip with them yet because I haven't been traveling, but I'm like, this is what you get when you use them. All these things that I would never have known, that they can be like, hey, by the way, check out this feature and your trip will be way better. So they're awesome.
Yeah.
They know a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, pull us up our next photo, Robbie.
You got it. First try. Wait, psych. I have to press another thing.
Different
Bada
picture.
Bing, bada boom. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Wait.
hey, I think Mike just mentioned this one potentially. So if you were listening, you maybe got a hint. I could be wrong. I don't know.
The question?
What ride is this? All of these right now are rides.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a section at the very end, if we get to it, that is food. I don't know if we'll make it to those because there are several rides here. Okay, next question. I'm going to answer this one first, and then you guys can chime in. I guess they both work.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
They said, what is your favorite Halloween time specific attraction? So I love everything there, but I want to go back. I have dreams of going back to Disney regularly. It's always at Halloween time. And my favorite one was the Haunted Mansion, because they take it and they make it Nightmare Before Christmas. And it was really, really fun. And my husband loves Nightmare Before Christmas. He's not a huge theme park person. So the roller coasters, he doesn't love those, but he really, really liked that ride too, which made it even more fun. Okay, what are your guys' favorite Halloween attractions? You can say Disney World or Disneyland. I only have Disneyland to pull from. Maybe say Disney World if you have one, since it's their 50th anniversary.
For Halloween attraction, I don't think they do any overhaul for Halloween, do they, Mike?
Oh, they do some, especially during the Boo Bash and those kind of things.
Okay.
and stuff like that. I'm a classic Haunted Mansion person as well. I love the Haunted Mansion. It's yeah, I had an opportunity to go with a friend of mine recently who it was his first time ever, and he was like, the Haunted Mansion, that was just how they do that is amazing. That technology, that's state of the art technology. I'm like, that was Walt's, kind of attraction. No, that's been around since the '60s. It's
Yeah.
But what they're able to do with engineering and imagineering, kind of thing with that ride and the overlays of Halloween and all that kind of stuff that's always my favorite.
Yeah, that's great.
I go back and forth between at Disneyland, I like the Haunted Mansion overlay with Nightmare Before Christmas, but I've also, one of my favorite rides has always been Pirates of the Caribbean as well.
And that's always got sort of a Halloween feel, whether or not it's Halloween, pirates, skeletons. That one's always really fun.
Spooky, yeah.
And I will say that I think Disneyland's version is better than Disney World's.
Interesting.
That is a fun thing about having people come, who are Disneyland. That's one thing we've seen a lot from the pandemic is people who, because Disneyland stayed locked down longer, people who were normally Disneyland, visitors wanted to say, hey, this is our time to go check out Disney World. And yeah, it's fun to see the differences of rides and just compare and contrast.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're ready for our next picture, Robbie.
Bada bing, bada boo.
That was pretty boom. It's not boo, but it is boo for Halloween.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Bada bing, bada boo. There's your ride. Take a good look. And we're moving on to the next question, which I will chime in again a little bit, but I'm sure that Mike and James have a lot of experience with this. So someone just asked, they said, I'm not a theme park / roller coaster fan. What do you recommend? As I mentioned, this is similar to my husband. Like he loves Disney, loves all of that stuff, but he doesn't really like crowds and he doesn't really like roller coasters. So when he thinks about going to theme parks, he's like, that doesn't sound like that appealing to him. So one thing that we did, we went during an off time, so the crowds were less intense. And we went and saw like shows, we went to restaurants. Like there's plenty to do in Disneyland and in the Disney parks that isn't just roller coasters. And there are plenty of rides that are not roller coastery. They're like Haunted Mansion, where you're kind of just sitting in a seat and experiencing the ride rather than like having crazy ups and downs. Do you guys have advice for when people have members of their party that maybe aren't thrilled about going to a theme park?
Well, it's also just seeing, like you said, what they are into. There's so many things opening up at Disney World now and in the next few months. I mean, there are so many different restaurants, not only inside the parks, but at the hotels as well. And you don't have to be a guest at that hotel in order to make a reservation at those restaurants. So if you've got an off day, or like there's one restaurant, the California Grill, if you can get seated right by the window and time it right, you could see the fireworks from Magic Kingdom. So there are lots of different ways, people, and so many rides like Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, that are not roller coasters and are not thrill rides, that are just more easygoing for people, and finding those times when it's not going to be as busy, so that way they're not overwhelmed, and trying to figure out, okay, I think Magic Kingdom would be actually busier on this day. Like Mike said, people were starting off at Hollywood Studios on the 1st, and there was like nobody there because everybody was going to the Magic Kingdom. So
yeah,
a couple other things I'll toss in. So you can almost put this in, and I'm not sure how the question was, who was posing it, but you can almost put this in like adulting Disney, right? Like I don't really care about doing roller coasters. And so James is right. Dining is huge at Disney World. There's amazing restaurants, all kinds of different levels of like fine dining, dress up kind of things. If you want to see something fun Disney just did, check out Space 220. It's a brand new restaurant inside of Epcot. The theme is you get in an elevator, you're going 220 miles above the earth, and you're like basically in this like space station eating dinner with these like 360-degree views of outer space and the earth. Super cool. the spas at Disney are amazing. My wife and maybe myself too have gone to the spas, and maybe I've gotten a pedicure. I'll never say, but there's some amazing spas at the Grand Floridian, different places, Saratoga Springs, to enjoy. Plenty of golfing, even fishing. All kinds of experiences like that. The shows, if you're not into the rides, the shows are probably my favorite thing. Now we're still waiting for all those to get back online, but not just the end of the night fireworks shows, things like the Lion King Festival of the Lion King at Animal Kingdom and the Finding Nemo musical at Animal Kingdom, two of the best shows there on property. We've got a brand new Cirque du Soleil show that's opening up at Disney Springs in November. And it'll be the first time that Cirque du Soleil has partnered with Disney Imagineering and Disney Animation. And so I'm super excited. I'm a big fan of Cirque du Soleil shows and all that acrobatics and stuff. And so a lot of cool stuff that people don't normally think about. And then, like, lastly, I'd say tours. When I was there, I was just pointing out some things to my friend that you learn from the Keys to the Kingdom tour, for example, at Disney World. There's actually tunnels underneath Disney World for people to get around. It's called the Utilidor. And Walt designed it because he didn't want a cowboy walking through Fantasyland or vice versa. And so you can actually see and go down into the Utilidor and check out all these kind of things. Great tour, a lot of cool stuff that you can do that doesn't involve roller coasters.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also if there's people who don't like theme parks, there's also the other destinations like the Disney Cruise Line and Disney Alani that are not theme parks and give you different experiences as well. So Disney is not known just for their theme parks.
That's a really good point. I also would love to go to Disney Alani. I never know how to say it. Robbie put a reminder there that there's a quiz in the description to win the ears. And also, you probably saw earlier, Robbie dragged my notes app into the screen.
You guys didn't see, but I'm like, they just pulled up Camry's notes up to the top screen. Luckily,
there wasn't anything embarrassing. Yeah. It was some song lyrics that I was working with one of my acting students. But it's kind of funny. We're ready for another picture, Robbie.
Great.
If you have any more questions, drop them now so that we get to them. I got locked out of Mom's computer, so I maybe need you to pull up the Google Doc.
Have you tried beep bop boop?
Do you know her password? Beep bop beep bop. It's not that.
Wow, that's disappointing.
I know. Okay, here's your ride. Oh, I think the name of that one is on the front of it, but there's your easy.
What?
Your easy option. My mom made this game for me while I was dealing with chaos this afternoon. So I'm glad that she pulled this together for us.
Ooh.
Okay, next question. You know her password?
Mm-hmm. It's top secret.
Okay. We are nearing the end of our question list. We're doing great. We're getting through these. Okay. There are a few questions this one. I'm trying to decide which one to ask. Are there any rides that you guys have not been on that you want to go on? I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what rides there are. So there are plenty for me, but.
So there was one that just opened on the 1st, obviously. So unless you were there in the last 6 days, you haven't ridden Remy's Ratatouille ride. And so that's the brand new one that's in the French Pavilion in Epcot. So I can say I haven't ridden them all because I was there and did have an opportunity. I got to 15 people from the front of the line and it broke down on me. But it was great. They gave me a lightning pass. They come back anytime later when it's running and you can get right back in. And so it worked out great, but you're so excited, got up there and it's like, oh no, but they got it worked out. So I don't think there's anything I haven't. Now at Disneyland, there's lots of things I haven't ridden because I haven't gone to Disneyland nearly as often since the new web slingers and the Marvel rides. So yeah. What about you, James?
I think one of the ones that I can think of is actually at California Adventure. I haven't been to the Incredicoaster since it was revamped from the original coaster because I've been on the original one, but I I haven't been on it since they've rethemed or done Guardians of the Galaxy, which replaced Tower of Terror. So I haven't done those new versions yet. I mean, I've done the rides in some capacity, but not the rethemed versions of them. I mean, when I was last at Disneyland, the big thing was to ride Spider-Man Web Slingers, which we got to do, and it was fun because our kids got to be involved with it, and there's nothing to do, just go like this with your hands, just the web shoot hand motion.
That's awesome.
There's literally been a new ride at Disney World every year for the last few years. So this year obviously was Remy. Last year was the Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Rail Ride. The year before was Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I think then right before that you had the Toy Story Land. So I think it was maybe 2 years to Pandora. So lots of cool stuff. It's almost constantly every year adding something.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and next year there are a couple of new things being added to Disney World as well.
Okay, we're going to show another picture. And then as I look at this picture, I want you guys to think about, we only have a few more minutes before our Google Meet kicks us out of the call. So I want you guys to think about one or two things that people frequently misunderstand about travel planners, or information that you would want people to know. Okay, so here's our next ride.
You gotta be specific.
Yeah, you got it. You can't just say Star Wars. Maybe you didn't know it was Star Wars.
Yeah, maybe they didn't know.
But now you do. There's your hint. All right. So, Mike, let's start with you. One or two things you wish people understood, or that they commonly misunderstand about travel planners.
Sure. I think it goes back to what you kind of started today, that it would cost you money to use a travel planner. So when you say it doesn't cost anything, a lot of times people think, well, I'm sure it does cost anything because they've got to make money. They're a company. So it's built into the price. They're not going to charge me anything, but I'm sure I'm paying more going through ConciEARS than I would if I just called Disney. And so that's the first probably major thing to dispel, is that no. In fact, I will tell people a lot of times, feel free to call Disney, jump on their website, pull up the package I just quoted you. You're going to find it's the exact same price, because we work directly out of Disney's system when we price quote you. And so it absolutely does not cost anything when it comes to that. You're just getting this expert advice, and someone else, honestly, sometimes that just waits on hold for you. When Disneyland opened back up, I broke my single day hold record waiting for Disney. I was on hold 8.5 hours to get through to book and buy tickets for some clients. And so
that, and the rest of us were telling Mike, hey, can you book this client right here?
Yeah,
Since you're on the phone with them.
Right. It was very much like whoever got through, everybody else was sending me their orders so we could get them all in taken care of. But so saving you time and saving you money is really, what I would like people to remember, I think.
I would think also another thing that people don't think of is sometimes they feel, oh, well, I wish I had gone to you before. I've already booked my trip. Well, if you're within a certain time frame and you haven't paid off your whole trip to Disney, we can transfer your booking to our company if you still want to work with us. We've got quite a few times where we've had people fill out a form for any of the locations, and if they're within that time frame, Disney has been able to transfer their booking to us so that we can take control and help you from there now out if you wanted us to have a more active approach.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know you've talked about being able to get people, because you guys this is your full-time job. So you see when like deals happen and special packages come through. And so if anything, it seems like people will save money working through you rather than spending more money. Okay. We just let's not do another ride picture. So I'm going to edit the quiz to end on the rides that we showed today. So I just want to cover base on what we've talked about today. ConciEARS is 5 years old. Happy birthday anniversary. Walt Disney World is 50 years old, as I'm sure you've seen. In our description, we have the link to the quiz. And if you fill out that quiz, you will be entered to win our 50th anniversary Disney ears, which Mike will hold up one more time.
Yay!
They're awesome.
They're super cute. I don't know if they're as cute on me as they are on.
Very cute.
Oh
They're
my
really cute on
goodness.
you, Mike. And then if you want to know more about ConciEARS, you can go to ConciEARS.com. It's ConciEARS, ears like Mickey ears. And as you can see on their logos, actually, I don't need to spell that out. It's behind their faces. And then will you guys tell them your Instagram handles where they should be following you? James, where should they follow you?
Mine is James Disney Concierge.
Great.
On Instagram.
Mike?
Gotcha. And mine is I'm so bad I don't even know my own Instagram handle. Isn't that horrible? I'm the old guy in the group. Yes, that's it. So don't follow me. Follow James. He'll keep you up on things.
And
You can
follow-
find James.
They can follow the company page though at
Yes,
ConciEARS.
absolutely.
And
Correct.
they post a lot of
Absolutely.
James and ConciEARS. Both their pages post a lot of the new announcements that are coming through. It's fascinating to learn about. And then you don't have to be the one tracking it down. They're doing all your Disney research for you. So make sure you're following them. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, James and Mike, for joining us. It's been really fun. It's
Thank you for
always
having us.
super educational and makes me want to plan a Disney trip soon. What have you done, Robbie? Robbie just ruined it at the there we go. Oh. There we go. He minimized our screen, but we're back. A nice technical difficulty to send us off. Have a great week, you guys, and be sure to follow them and fill out the quiz in the description. Love you guys. Bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, James
See
and
ya.
Mike.
Bye.
Thank you.